Hi guys, good morning. Before I start, I just really want to say thank you to PK for organising this. I realise how much effort would go into something like this, and it's interesting. PK rang me about a month ago, and I was in bed with COVID, and he said, Piers, I really need you to come and talk at this seminar. And it was interesting because it gave me time to reflect on my last 25 years in real estate. And it's interesting, I just turned 50 this year, so I've spent half my life selling real estate, so there's been a fair bit of experience in there. PK and I actually share something in common. We both actually started real estate in 1997, so we've both been doing it for 25 years. And the first time I came across PK was in 1998, and I remember I was selling a house in Carabella Street in Kirribilli, and it was one where we'd had about 200 people through the door. We had 30 contracts out, and we're set to go to auction on Saturday with about 12 registered bidders. Anyway, I get this guy that calls me. I'll call him the Rottweiler, and he goes, "Hey mate, I want to buy this now." And I'm like, "You can't. It's going to auction on Saturday." "Yeah, I can." "Okay, all right." "No, I'm buying it now." Anyway, so he's trying to bamboozle me into buying this property. Well, I know I've got 12 registered on the weekend. Anyway, I managed to hold the Rottweiler back, and we went to auction. PK came second. And that's how I met PK. So I've had 25 years of dealing with a Rottweiler, and I love the Rottweiler, I really do. He's one of a kind. He was actually the original buyer's agent in Sydney, and the first time I met PK, I actually didn't know what a buyer's agent was. So he is the original buyer's agent. He's the one and only PK. You've become a very good mate over the years, and PK's actually, believe it or not, has helped myself and my family buy 3 properties. So even as a successful agent, I've 100% believe in using a good buyer's agent, because when we turn into buyers, we go through all the emotions like everyone else. Anyway, on to the question. So it is hard to read here, especially when you're blind. So my first point was work really hard. Look, if you want to be at the top of your game, at some stage you're going to have to put a lot of work into it. And I don't work anywhere near as hard as I used to in the earlier part of my career. I got into real estate in 1997, and my big game changer was in 2004. I left my agency I was working for, and I started at McGrath. And at the time, I was 32. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a family. I got in there. First year there, I worked incredibly long hours, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m, 6 days a week. Absolutely worked my ringer out. And really, I call it going pro at the time, and that was really my game changer. I went from, at the time, writing about 300,000 GCI a year, and did 700 in my first year when I went to McGrath. So my point is, I think that if I was talking to my 25-year-old self, or any of the younger agents in the room, do it. Give it a really, really hard push while you can, because it does become harder when you're older and you've got, kids and hobbies and families and all that sort of stuff. So I'm so glad back then I really did give it that effort, because I went from 700 to $1 million the following year, and then I never really looked back after that. So I think once you start to get momentum in the marketplace, then it becomes a lot more easier. So work really, really hard. The other thing I would... sorry, mate.
No, you go.
Yeah, second one, challenge yourself. If I look back on my last 25 years, I've got there no challenge, no discomfort, or no growth. The times I've had growth is when I've really stressed myself out. And when I say that, it was, again, going back to McGrath back then, I put on an assistant back then, 50 grand a year. I didn't have any money in the bank. I spent 20 grand on marketing that year. I didn't have any money in the bank. My point is, when you actually put yourself out there, you have to grow. You force yourself to grow. No different to when Dean and I bought the Neutral Bay office off John McGrath back in 2007. We had no money. The office was losing 30 grand a month. And we bought it, and we just had no choice but just to pedal really hard. And subsequently, we turned that office into such a successful office. But again, if I hadn't actually backed myself and done that, I wouldn't have had the growth. So with that comes with plenty of sleepless nights, a lot of stress. But in hindsight, I don't regret any of it. And I really think that if I had the choice to have a crack at something, and fail, that's better than not to have tried at all. Because when I'm older, I want to look back at my life and think I really had a serious crack at it. Oh, this is the random one. What is it? Can you read?
Yeah. What do you do when one of your salespeople loses their passion and starts to fall off the cliff?
Look, I think it happens to all of us at different times. I mean, if you're going to be in the industry for a long time, you're going to go through times of motivation and non-motivation. Look, I think usually when that happens, there's usually some reason behind it. And I think it's a matter of finding out what's going on in their life and, why have they lost passion? And I guess initially find out what the reason is and just get in there and help them to turn it around. Yeah, because, I've got a team of fantastic people and, as Matt said, the last 12 months has not been easy. Life's not easy at the moment. There's a lot of shit going on, and I think that, pretty much my whole team's had COVID at a different time. You go through relationship breakups, all sorts of stuff go on. So, and I think that's about having a really good team, and we're like family. We kind of look after each other, and I think we know when one of us is a bit flat, and we all get in there and help each other.
And if they're no good, you just sack them and hope they go to your competitor.
Yeah. That's happened too.
All right,
yeah.
Next question. You have an amazing wife, Piers. Through this 25-year journey, what are some of the things she has told you that really resonate to you in tough times?
PK, did she call you to write that question? Yeah, I thought she did, yeah. No, look, my wife's amazing. I mean, I met my wife, and interesting, we've been married for 16 years, and my real estate career pretty much took off when I met her. And I think a lot of that was about just being incredibly happy. She actually, I'm a bit like Matt. I've got ADD. I'm actually a little bit disorganised by nature. My wife, I'm a big picture person, and she's really big on the detail. So she kind of cleans up a lot of the stuff behind me. But in all seriousness, she's a great, amazing partner. She's a great mum, and I'm very lucky to have her. So my life has definitely changed having her. I can't, meeting and marrying the right person has been a game changer for me. So it's a very big decision, definitely.
She's got her own very successful business too, doesn't she?
She sold it actually. Yeah.
Oh, she sold it. Oh, there you
my
go.
wife she had a gift business called Caddo and Bliss, but she sold it just so we could focus more on the kids.
Number 5, play the long game. Love your clients.
Love your clients and love your work. Yeah, look, I've always had a really, I've already taken a long view on my real estate career. I always honestly try and put my clients' interests first. Sometimes I miss business for telling the truth up front and being honest about it, because I get obviously rolled by an agent that goes and tells them some bullshit. However, I think that if that happens, it happens. I look at the bigger picture and look at the people that, 50% of my business now is uncontested. People call me and often they don't see another agent, or if they do, they don't tell me about it. And I think that to me is a real reward for all those 25 years of, giving solid advice and being honest about it. So I think that, love your clients, look after them, and they'll reward you. And this is, my business is pretty much only repeat referral business at the moment. Interesting, a lot of my business actually comes from agents as well. About 20% comes from agents, and it's not necessarily from agents in DiJones either. If you look at the speakers up here this morning, they're all really great people. And I think they're great people in that they sell a lot of real estate, but they're also just good, genuine people, good family people. Like Matty Brady, we've had referrals backwards and forth, even though he's Bell. Actually, Matt's Micey, don't tell him that. But John Cunningham, Clarkey, these are all guys that I talk to a lot, and we have some really good friendships with. So
surround yourself with great people, build an amazing team, continually involve.
Yeah, look, I love my team. They are, like Matty, they're family. It's interesting, I think when it comes to teams, a few of my team members have come to me when you least expect it, and sometimes the right person will be in front of you when you're not even looking for anybody. I'll give you an example. Georgia Lawrence, who's in my team, I sold Georgia's apartment in Neutral Bay 10 years ago. Her and ex-husband ran restaurants, and after that she said to me, Piers, look, I'd love to come and work in real estate. I got her a job in our PM section. She then worked for Priscilla for a few years, and then she's been with me for the last 4 years. And, an amazing person. And it's been so beautiful to see her go from on that journey that she's now, she's an agent working within my team. She'll probably write about $1 million, and she's self-sufficient. And I think that's a really good thing to see. So my advice with teams is hire ambitious people, hire smart people, and help them help them on their journey, on their career. Don't ever hold people back. I see agents holding their staff back for their own self-interest. It's just really not a good thing to do. As far as continually involved, look, I think you have to keep changing. I have to keep reinventing. At the moment, I've joined teams with Donovan Murphy, another agent in my business. Donovan's 10 years younger than me. We are bringing our teams together, so we'll have 7 people in our team. Collectively, last year we sold about 150 properties. This year we want to punch at about 200 properties. And the reason why I did that is, look, again, Donovan's a great guy. I actually want to help him achieve what I achieved in the last 10 years. He's 40, I'm 50. And what I want from Donovan is to help me achieve better life balance. This afternoon I'm off to Noosa for 2 weeks. So I'm a little bit like Matt. School holidays for me are now, I'm on holidays too. I also want to take a month off at the end of the year over Christmas. So for me to be able to have 2 months off a year and have that balance, to have someone of Donovan's calibre helping me run the business, help train and work with our agents is really great. So, you've just got to evolve. That's where I'm at the moment.
Don't be afraid of a hard market.
Don't be hard. Yeah, that's interesting. I got into real estate in 1997. How are we going for time, by the way? 1997 to 2007, the market went up 10% a year every year. And so because I'd only worked for a decade in a market that I only knew a rising market, I always associated a market when it did come off, wouldn't be making any money. And it couldn't have been further from the truth, because what happened was Dean and I bought the business in 2007. The GFC came along, and what happened was, I was thinking, oh my God, this is like, what a time to happen. In hindsight, it was the best thing that could have ever happened, because in our market at the time, we had a few older agents that were they'd listed all these properties, they'd overpriced them, and they continued to overprice them, and they wouldn't sell. So what we used to do, we used to get in there, meet with the vendors, and we'd say, look, your property hasn't sold. It's usually down to 4 things. It's either price, presentation, marketing, or agent energy. And we'd sort of look at that, get them all kind of re-photographed, remarketed, repriced, and we get in there and sell them. And then we then use those case studies on our next vendors to say, well, number 1 Smith Street was on the market for 6 months. We got in there and sold it at 3 weeks, and this is what we did. So we would use those case studies to list more properties. And I think what happens is when you start selling properties in a hard market and the other agents aren't, that in itself then becomes very attractive, and it started. So we actually grew our business in 2007, from 3% market share up to about 28% by 2010, and it was really on that thing. So good agents will go really well in a hard market, and a lot of people will fall off the bandwagon. So I actually see it as an opportunity. Get in there, but you can't take shortcuts in that market. As Maddie said, you've got to do set to sells, you've got to meet with your vendors every week, you've got to do great vendor reports, you've got to do great buyer servicing, you've got to be on the A game. Whereas the last 18 months, to be honest with you, we could have been asleep on the couch and the property would have sold. So this is an opportunity, but you need to change, you really do. And go into it with a positive attitude, because it is quite negative out there at the moment. Number 8, I'll sort of finish on this, look after your health and find a love outside of real estate. I wish I knew this a few years ago, actually. Look, I had a really serious health issue about 6 years ago. And it was a health issue so significant that I actually looked my mortality in the eyes, and I thought that at the time, I had three young kids, a beautiful wife, and I always assumed that I was going to live to 80. Now, for everyone in the room, my health is great and everything's fine, so it's good. But what it actually taught me, the lesson I got out of that, because once I had my operation and I was fine, it made me realise at the time that we're not here for a long time. And I really live my life by getting the best out of every day. I actually say on my Instagram, I make the most out of every day, and I live by that. What's been the best thing for me in the last 18 months? I've taken up surf skiing. So I 5:30, either 5:30 or 6:30, pretty much 4 days a week. I'm down at the Spit, and I go out with a really nice bunch of people, and we surf ski out the heads, and we catch waves off Sydney Harbour, and I see the sunrise. I see dolphins, I see sharks, I see ferries, I see seals, and honestly, it is the most magnificent way for me to start my day. I don't have anyone ringing me on my mobile phone. It's my time. It's really increased my health. I'm actually off to do a paddle camp in Noosa with my surf club at 2 o'clock today, and it really has changed my life. And I think that there's, last year for us, probably like a lot of agents in the year, we were so busy, and we had my best year in 25 years. I wrote some huge numbers, and I couldn't have done it if I hadn't had discovered my surf skiing. So my advice to anyone in this room, this is it's a really tough business. It's very demanding, and it can wear you out if you let it wear you out. But I think the fact that I've been doing it for 25 years, and I still get up in the morning, and I still love real estate, you do need to find hobbies and interests outside of real estate, because if you don't, I think you might just burn yourself out. So yeah, that's been my words of wisdom. I wish I really had discovered my surf skiing 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, because I love it that much. So yeah, but look, I really make an effort. I make sure most nights I get home to see my kids, put them to bed. I really focus on just having a really balanced, enjoyable life. And I've been able to do that from working very, very hard for a long time and having a great team.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Piers van Hamburg.